All right. Episode 2, I guess. Doing this over again here. Today, I think this is going to be a really good message because I'm going to talk about a time that I actually had gone through where it really shifted my mind into uh, going on a trajectory where I knew that I should go upon, because if I did not, I would have been stuck in a realm of not understanding the world around me and not understanding where I need to go in life, and ultimately just continuously feeling stuck and not being able to try and get myself out from where I was, or where uh, at least I was mentally at the time. And I'm gonna kind of center around a certain point because this is kind of a vulnerable subject, but I think that's what gives character, and I think that's what I'm realistically here to talk about anyways, is moments like this, because my shift in my mindset, especially at the times, I want to be able to convey that as best as possible to you, because maybe you can relate to it, especially in your own life. I think it's good to be able to talk about these subjects, only because I guess it gives kind of the depth to kind of where I'm coming from, so you also can relate to it as well. And I wouldn't be uh, honestly being truthful with myself and being truthful with you if I couldn't bring some my own pain points to surface, and not being able to explain them in the way that I want to. And I want to bring my pain points to life because maybe you're going through something similar where you might feel like you're stuck and not knowing kind of where to go, and you don't have almost like a driving force to help the trajectory, and to push you in a direction where you need to ultimately go, or even where you see yourself going in the future, and you just don't have that momentum or don't know how to start that momentum. And I'm going to give you kind of a scenario and a story, especially coming from my life, that really changed my mind specifically. Responsibility is such a big thing in my life, and it hit me so hard at a certain point in my life a couple of years ago. Now at this point, actually it's a little more than a couple of years ago, that responsibility really actually took over my own actions, and it actually took over my mentality at the time, especially with the person that I was, and in regards to who I wanted to become and where I saw myself in the future. And the person that I was at the time just wasn't the person that I wanted to be. He was very weak minded. He was very weak physically. He just didn't have the driving force of what needed to be, uh, conveyed in the future, and built upon in the future. There was no substance. There was no tangibility. There was nothing to grasp onto. It was just a empty shell of questions and no direction and no purpose, until this certain moment happened. And this certain moment was the moment that and family men can relate to this. Anyone that has a family or has kids and stuff like that can, especially personally, relate to this. And it was when the moment of my daughter being born. So it wasn't the leading up into the pregnancy and the 9 months, and in which actually my daughter was born slightly premature by a few weeks. And that was also kind of like a whole nother aspect to it that obviously no one can anticipate in their life. But it also is something that opens your eyes, and that's a detriment, because you have this child that's been born, and now all this cares has to be given in a certain way to make sure that everything goes through properly, and she can get out of the hospital, you know healthy, and be able to function through her life. And my daughter, thankfully, came out of that. She was only born a few weeks early, which wasn't like a great detriment, but she still had to go under, like, uh, I can't remember what the light is. It's like a jaundice, so she doesn't get jaundice. And they had to monitor her breathing, and they had to do some tests, and she had to kind of like go through this this phase of passing these certain tests to be able to be released from the hospital after the birth. And I remember being there for like 2 weeks after the fact, because it took about 2.5 weeks before we were actually allowed to leave the hospital with her. Otherwise, if like a full grown baby, full term baby that's born, the mother technically after the mother is recovered, they can pretty much leave right away or whenever she is ready, and wherever the hospital is ready to release and send you on your way. So it's a little slightly different, especially with preterm babies. And that's how it was with my story. But keep going in here. And the place that I was at that time mentally wasn't good. I was smoking probably a pack a day or more at that time. I was in a very, very bad headspace mentally, and obviously a bad form physically. And I just had no direction. I didn't know where I was going, especially now that this child was being born. I had a duty of responsibility, especially going home and bringing this child home with us after this 9-month pregnancy, and then her being slightly premature. And it really opened my eyes a lot to a lot of things, and it really resonated because I know I wanted to change, and I know I know I could change. But then again, it's like all the times that you kind of like fall back on, and you fall back and you don't downward spiral, but you just don't know how to until you come to such a pain within yourself that you're just almost like you're sick of yourself. And I had become internally sick and mentally sick of myself and the habits that I had formed around my life and my lifestyle at that time. I was gaming every day, and I did that whole thing. I just go home, and I would work. I would come home, turn on the TV, sit on the couch, game, do nothing, go nowhere, build nothing. And I had to ask myself the question. Like, it really came down. It was like, is this the person that I want to portray and have my daughter see me as she starts to grow up? Is this the best person I could possibly be for her? And maybe this is something that a lot of fathers go through. Maybe not. I mean, it seems like now it's not. Maybe it's just me because I already had this aspect in the back of my mind. Like, I know I need to become something, but it's already so far away that all I need to do is just try and start with one thing and then build upon that. And that's what I always kind of knew, especially in how I had said before. Like, I had at least some discipline in my life where now I can just try and switch that back on. And luckily I did. Luckily I switched it back on. But the thing is that it didn't take right away when we came home with my daughter. It didn't take, it wasn't right away. If I'm being completely honest, it took 5 months. It was actually probably like 5.5 months after my daughter was home and coming home and seeing my daughter's face every single day, knowing I'm not the person yet, knowing I'm not where I should be. And that is such a detriment, coming home and seeing your daughter and knowing what she's going to be born up into and seeing her father as. And it's funny because I look back on pictures and see myself at the weight that I was. I was 277 pounds. Yeah, I'm 5'11", 277 pounds, overweight. I had long hair. There's just no great habits. I was eating horribly. I was like, it's funny because I want to say that I was like never truly completely always unhealthy. But then I look back on the pictures and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like from especially this point now, it's like I'm 15,000 times more healthier than what I even thought that I was then, because I just couldn't grasp the concept of it. And looking back on those pictures, and I want to show some pictures, especially on screen. I don't know if I'll post it here or here, especially of what I used to look like. But I'll create some still frames and post them like right here. And show you some pictures about what I used to look like. And it's funny because I can at least be open to that, because I'm just not that person anymore. And I look back on those pictures and I'm just like, who the fuck was that? Like that's how I see it now. Like I don't even know who that person was anymore. Like that was me. That was me. And I'm so thankful that I had dug myself up and away from that old habitual lifestyle of of trying to reconcile with my situation and having no direction and trying to twist my mind thinking that everything that I was doing was okay when it wasn't. And that now that I had the responsibility, uh, going forth into that path would only lead to more destruction of what was just created, or what was being created, which is the cultivation of her growing up, and even the cultivation of my relationship with my girl. Because the man leads the household. The man leads the household. Usually everything runs off of the man. So however the man is going about life, is everything else follows, because your girl follows you. Your kids follow you. Dad is the main person coming home to see his kids, and his kids are always like, Dad, like you're dad, I can't explain it properly, but your girl sees you in a certain light. It's like you're the man of the household. You command the household. So whatever life you lead, they will naturally follow that lifestyle unless you start to change it, because then you'll implement the systems that you need and they will have to conform to it. But you do it in a sensible way, because you want to build your family to the to the best of your ability. And that all goes with who you are as a man. It's just that's just how it is. So me at that time with what I was doing, it just couldn't stay. It just couldn't. I just couldn't go through with be with being this person, and not even becoming, because I was so stagnant in who I was, that I would just go forth into the future, not building upon nothing, becoming nothing. I didn't have anything right, because I look back, especially, and I'll drive this home. I don't want to get to this exactly yet, but I'll make sure I'll circle back around and try and drive this home in the way that I want to. But talking about that man in that circumstance, smoking cigarettes every day, gaming every day, going to a 9 to 5 job and punching in every day. And I was just giving into that so much. Just wasting time, wasting time, wasting time. I've wasted time so long. And it's like, I look back and it's like, I don't want to like regret that. But then again, like obviously the aspect of bringing my daughter home and then going through that 5 months of turmoil and pain after the fact of seeing her face every day, realistically like drove it home. Literally, like I drove home and I just drove it home. I knew that if I was going to stay that man, that everything would come crumbling down. I would never be the person that I want to achieve to be. I would never build the things that I want to build for myself or my family. I would never be able to show them what an actual, real family could be structurally wise, especially from a fatherly standpoint. You want your kids to be strong. You want a strong family. You want to bring those attributes and teach them things that we want to be able to have enough energy to do that. And it's like, if I'm coming home every day and I'm smoking cigarettes, what are they going to cling to? That's what they would cling to. They cling to what you show them. And none of it was healthy. None of it was. So that sparked a complete and utter shift in my life to go forth to start something. At 277 pounds, what I did was I started running. That was the only thing that I knew that I could start with. I wasn't flexible. I was fat. I just didn't have the energy. I smoked for so long, so I definitely didn't have the breath, or I didn't have the lung capacity anymore. And I had to get all of it back as best as I possibly could with trying to revive energy the entire time and just give my focus solely. So I made sure that no matter what, I created enough pain in my mind that being that person every day, or where I was every day, needed to change to especially go forth into my future. And the thing is that running changed my life. It changed my life. It changed the aspect, because that's all I started with. I couldn't just feel confident enough to go to the gym and lift weights. I couldn't feel confident enough to just do the things that I used to do. I didn't even want to do them at home. So I just felt like running. It's just like that feeling where it's like when something like detrimental happens to you, especially at a specific time, like the natural tendency is like what, fight or flight. That's what they say, right? Fight or flight, right? I just felt like running away. So I used to run my old road, the road when I used to do martial arts way back in the day. And I ran that road, and it's an exactly 6 mile road. And I know I used to run that road, so I went back to it. It's a 6 mile loop. So instead of running away, I ran in a circle and came back and faced myself and faced the problem here. And at that point, in 3 months, I lost 77 pounds. I came from 277 to 200. And ultimately actually got to 198. And then I just felt like I was a little, just kidding. I wanted to be around like that 205, 210 mark. Right now, I think I'm around like 215. But I lost that much weight in 3 months, which I probably could have even done faster. But the problem is I was just so hard on myself. That's all I knew, especially being that way for so long. And then just cutting that immediately as fast as I possibly could was just the goal. And I had never written any of this out. I just started. And yeah, I had to run in front of those cars every day and the people looking at me and probably laughing at me as I was a fat shit running down the road. Oh well, had to do what I had to do. And I'm so glad I did it, because it just led to the habits of other things too as well. I gave up smoking immediately. If I promised myself I was going to run, that first day I gave up smoking. The first day I gave up smoking, the day after I started running. That's right. Coming from a pack or more a day, or a pack and a half a day, consistently, every day, spending that money going to the store and buying cigarettes every single day, then quitting ultimately cold turkey, because you ultimately, and this is for the smokers out here, right? You always want to quit, no matter what. You're always just revolving that in your mind. You always just want to quit. Like you always say, "Oh, this, I'm going to quit." But you don't add enough pain. You don't add enough pain to it. If you really ultimately wanted to quit, then you would just quit. There wouldn't be no game you'd play with yourself. And that's what it became for me. I was playing this game for so long with myself, with so many other aspects of my life, that was one of the habitual patterns that I needed to let go of immediately, especially if I wanted to change, to become the person that I wanted to become. because it's a continuous growth process. You got to start somewhere. So I gave up cigarettes immediately. The day after, I ran 6 miles. And no, I didn't run the full 6 miles. I walked my ass sometimes because I was tired, out of breath, going uphill. But I made sure on that, and I picked my specific run because there are many hills on it. And I picked that purposely to stress myself out and to do it regardless. Hills I saw as blessings. And I knew that no matter what, eventually I'd be able to run them. I'd be able to run every hill, and I still run my hills. Every time I get to a hill, I try and sprint the hills, no matter what. Now, this is 2 years, or actually a little more than 2 years ago now. And I promised myself from that point of running that 6 miles that I'd never pick up cigarettes again, and that I would run every other day. And I did. And I still continue to do that. Yesterday was my run day. It was like 94 degrees out, but I did it anyways. And I'm glad that I do that anyways, because I come home dripping sweat, run into a cold shower, and then I just do whatever I need to do, especially. And I'm glad because the last 2 years of running, no matter what, I have that default that if anything, any setback or anything had ever happened, if I just kept running, I could pick myself back up from wherever I started from, because that was the pivotal moment of what I started with. And I'm so thankful for it. Running changed the complete aspect and was the driving force to continuously keep going. And all I could see was my daughter's face and my family's face in the future, because I always was telling myself that. And I always was told this as well. It's like you were always told things when you're growing up that like your family's cursed, or like you guys just don't have no luck. And it's like, what does that even mean? And I'm super glad for it, because all that time that I was told that growing up, that our family's just unlucky, or our family has some curse involved with it, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. If that's the case, it's going to end with me. And I'm going to kill it on the road I'm running. I'm going to kill it on my runs. Kill the bad voice that's in the head telling you you're not good enough. You're going to kill the bad energy that surrounds your entire life that you've placed yourself up in. You're going to kill the former self that which drags you down mentally, and you start to build upon something. Running was that foundation. And it's since transpired into so many other things that I've learned so far. And now I look back on that person, especially in the pictures, I'm like, what? Who was that person? Like, who was that fucking person? It's crazy to look back on that person. Like, I couldn't imagine doing and being that person these last couple of years still. I couldn't imagine doing that. And there was a lot of building I had to personally do throughout this entire process, even till now. I'm still not physically there of where I want what I want my body to look like. I'm still not making the money that I want to make. I'm still not doing the things that I want to do yet, but I will. Because that's my trajectory. That's what I want for myself. That's what I want for my family. I want them to be able to see me as a person that can really, really show them a different aspect of life that they've never have ever known, realistically, because they're such little kids. They have no idea. But then again, it's like the people around me, like my family, that they will never know the aspect of life that I could show, that value, and bring value as much as I possibly can to others. And that's what realistically is all about for me, is the value for others, the value that I can bring my own family, and the value that it'll teach me in the process of doing it. And that to me is already a win. That's a win for me. And I'm sorry if I've gone on a little bit of a rant here, but this is a really, really big pain point for me because, there's so much into this and there's so much depth into this that I really had to weigh and measure myself the last 2 years in every single aspect of my life. And I know that where I started from to where I am now was such an intense process that looking back on this is where I'm tying it in here. Looking back on that person now and going forth with where I'm from, where I'm at now, the processes of which I'm going through and what I want to create going forth into the future. I have that now, especially where I am now. I have that aspect of my life where I know that I could never go back. I can never go back. There's no going back. If I've ultimately don't know that person anymore, or don't even, that person doesn't exist anymore. He's dead. He's in some other cosmos that doesn't fucking exist in my current reality and will never, ever again. And it's a great reminder because it's like, no matter what, going forth into my future, I know that I can never go backwards now. I know that there's no shifting backwards into anything. There's only forward motion. And that's what it's really taught me throughout this whole time, these last couple of years. It's forward motion. And all the progress that I've made so far, how do you go back? There's just no going back at all from any point of where I'm at now. I've done too much. I've researched too much. I know too much now to ever go back to it. Like, why would I ever reverse my situation now? That just doesn't make any sense. Sometimes I catch myself only because that person sometimes is like, he's being dragged by chains behind me of what it feels like sometimes, but then sometimes he's not there at all. And I can just go forth and keep creating. But it's a great reminder because going forth into the future, I know that that's all there is going forth into the future. Going back to what? There's no downward spiral from here. I won't allow that for myself. And if there's any viewers that look at this and are at a certain place, especially in their life, and have gone through something similar of a process, that no matter what, like, even if you don't have the information of what you're seeking right now, you know that you can never go back. You've already done too much. You've gained the discipline that you need. That you've gone to the gyms how many times? You've ran that road how many times? How many times I've ran that road hundreds of times. I'm going to go back on all of that, all that struggle, all that sweat. I had straight shin splints when I started for like 4 months. Shin splints. And I sucked it up and kept running because I didn't care. Felt like my legs were broken. Nope. I no give with myself. Pain is the necessary process. I'm never going to go through that pain ever again. I'll go through the pain now going forward, but that pain is gone. I paid that due. I paid those dues. And that's where I wanted to tie it into. Because you get to a point, especially in your life, if you want to change and you start to do something and you continue to do it and you gain the discipline, you gain the knowledge about yourself because you're self-observing and you're going through that because you just want to change, given any circumstance that anyone is in. If you have enough pain attached to your current self and you just trying to break out, then just do it. Just start it, because you'll never regret it. And that's the thing. I've never ever regretted a day where I went to the gym, even when I didn't want to. I've never regretted a run. I've never regretted the things that I'm supposed to do. I never regretted them. And that is such a fundamental thing that sticks with me. Even when I don't want to do them, when I do them anyways, I look back and I don't regret them. I'm actually happy that I did that. I'm happy that I did it regardless. You can't regret when you've paid due diligence to yourself while you're trying to become something. It could go with the smallest thing. If you're trying to lift a 20-pound dumbbell, however many times, and you've never done it before, and you did it for how many sets and how many reps, and you got out of the gym, even if you didn't want to do it, but you made yourself go through it for the half an hour, whatever the case is, and any exercise or any regard, and you came out of the gym, and no matter what, you are going to be proud of yourself that you went through that regardless, even if it was a measly 20 pounds or the 10 squats you've been neglecting, or the run that you always wanted to do, and it was hot out and there was bugs biting your ass, or it was snowing. It doesn't matter. You know how many times I've ran in the rain, in the storms, in the snow all winter when it's 12 degrees outside? I don't fucking care. I'm glad that I did that afterwards. And I put myself through it, even though I just you don't want to at first, but no matter what, you've already gained the discipline because you promised yourself that you're going to do it regardless. You're never going to regret the dues that you have paid for yourself, especially if you're keeping that discipline. And that really does transform the mind. It's by starting with your physical fitness. And I always knew that. I had back problems. I had, obviously, mental health problems. I had physical health problems. No matter, body-wise, I was just unhealthy. By just doing and getting all that out, getting all those toxins out, I knew that no matter what, even being that person before I started, I knew that the way to fix my back and the way to fix my health and to fix my mentality was just by working out. That's it. You have to fix those things. That I knew that already from my previous martial arts training that I used to do to myself. Working out 8 hours a day for 4 to 5 years. Every day, I did it. I taught myself for no reason. I just did it because I liked it. And that really was a good mechanism to have a point to stand on, to be able to now switch my mind back into gear, because I knew that to help fix everything that was wrong with me was just by working out. And that realistically is the way to start anything, to fix your mentality, to fix your body, to fix your health, to fix everything. Just start working out. Everybody knows how to. Everybody knows how to. But that's what it was for me. And now there's no going back, and there's only going forward. And I'm personally, eternally grateful for every time I pay my due diligence to myself. And I only want to get more stringent and more regimented going forth. Because now I'm doing this channel, and I want to be able to stand on here and stand on this ground in front of an audience and be able to portray and be able to give what I can give, especially in the struggles that I have gone through and what I continue to put myself through for you guys. And I'm grateful for that, because that's what it all means. That's what life means to me. I always wanted to create something. And I've always wanted to talk, and I just never knew how to until I got into this point. And now I'm just diving in as deep as possible, being as vulnerable as I possibly can. Because I've already been embarrassed enough in my short 2-year process, and even through my whole life, I've had so much embarrassing moments that it doesn't matter to me anymore. And I just use that as strength to go forward. And I would highly advise, if this resonates with you, leave a comment down below and maybe answer this question. What's a moment of your life that you went through that you don't regret, that you can really actually look and use that as a ground to stand upon? What was the one? It doesn't matter if it was you passed a test, or in school, or you got the truck that you wanted, or you paid for your first car, or you did something nice for someone. You know, you did something that ultimately made you feel good about yourself, and that you could use that as motivation and as a disciplined standpoint to keep going forth and keep doing. Well, what's one accomplishment that you've done, that you look about, that you can look back on and that are proud of? Leave it down in the comments. I would love to read it. If anyone is ever watching this and has seen this so far, I'm truly thankful for you watching this all the way through. Sorry that it had gone on for so long, but this means a lot to me, especially this subject, and I'm truly grateful for you. And I only want the best for anybody that is watching this, and I really hope that this message can get through to the people that maybe need the answers to be able to start from somewhere, because that's what it's all about, is becoming more than you think you can be. So, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.